10 years of marriage to Mark had become a comfortable routine for April. 2 kids, a golden retriever named Winston, and a beautiful life in the predictable suburbs. Then came the late nights at the office, the lingering scent of a perfume that wasn't hers, clinging to his collar, and the way his eyes seemed to glaze over when she spoke. The truth hit April like a rogue wave. Mark was having an affair. Fury simmered beneath the surface as April dialed a number she'd found discreetly advertised online. Miller Investigations. "I suspect my husband is having an affair," she said, voice trembling only slightly. The gruff voice on the other end, a man named Jack, promised results. Days turned into weeks, filled with a gnawing anxiety. Jack's updates were a series of grainy photos. Mark leaving a trendy bar with a blonde who looked like a character ripped straight out of a reality show. April, still playing the part of the oblivious wife, felt a cold rage harden in her gut. Pregnant with their 3rd child, she wouldn't be another statistic, the betrayed wife left holding the empty bag. One evening, Jack's call came with a twist. "There's more, much more. Brace yourself," he said, a hint of amusement in his voice. This blonde, turns out she has a couple of her own secrets. He sent a file with a picture of the same woman, Brittany, canoodling with a completely different guy, a younger, tattooed version of Mark. He also sent a picture of her leaving a women's clinic. Apparently, she was pregnant. April's mind raced. This Brittany was playing a dangerous game. A plan, a deliciously vengeful one, began to take shape. April placed a call to a lawyer she'd been secretly interviewing. The battle lines were drawn. The world seemed to move in slow motion as April met with the lawyer, her hands shaking as she signed the divorce papers. Mark, summoned home for a serious talk in the middle of the day, arrived to find his wife clad in a power suit, not maternity pajamas. "We're done, Mark," April said, her voice firm. The color drained from his face as she laid out the evidence, the pictures of Brittany plastered on the table like a winning hand. "And don't even try, that meant nothing card. You had a choice." Mark stammered, apologies spilling out, but April wasn't interested. She'd been a supportive wife, shouldered the burden of raising their kids while he chased his midlife crisis. The anger that had been simmering for weeks finally erupted. "You betrayed everything we built," she said, voice rising. "Now you get to deal with the consequences. And believe me, there will be consequences." The divorce proceedings were brutal. April, guided by her ruthless lawyer, took everything she could. The house, the cars, even the hefty life insurance policy. Mark, stripped bare, looked like a deflated balloon. He tried to plead and bargain, but April was a wall of granite. One day, as she was packing up their bedroom, tears pricked her eyes. This wasn't just about revenge. It was about reclaiming her life, her worth. She paused, picking up a framed photo of their younger selves, the hopeful smiles reflecting a time before betrayal. With a sigh, she placed it in the keep pile. Weeks later, the final decree arrived. April held a celebratory dinner with her closest friends, the laughter cleansing the air. As the evening wound down, she discreetly slipped an envelope to her friend Emily. "Give this to Mark," she said, a mischievous glint in her eyes. The next morning, April received a frantic call from Mark. "Where did you get this?" "Why didn't you tell me sooner?" he shouted, voice laced with panic. April leaned back in her chair, a satisfied smile playing on her lips. "Well, it's not my responsibility to help deal with the mess you created. Have fun figuring out who's the dad." The envelope April passed on to Mark contained the pictures of Brittany with her other boyfriend and at the clinic. Now, Mark had to deal with his own cheating partner. The irony wasn't lost on April. Life as a single mother was a whirlwind, but April thrived. She took online courses, reignited a passion for photography, and built a new life for herself and her children. Winston, her ever-loyal companion, never left her side. One sunny afternoon, April found Mark at the park, watching their kids play. He looked older, defeated. She felt a pang, a flicker of the life they could have had, but it was quickly extinguished. "Hey," she said. Mark flinched at the sound of her voice. He looked up, his eyes shadowed. "Hi," he mumbled, avoiding eye contact. The kids, oblivious to the tension, shrieked with delight as they chased each other across the grass. April sat down on a nearby bench, a comfortable distance from Mark. "They're getting so big," she said, her voice neutral. "Yeah," Mark replied, kicking at a pebble with his shoe. "Time flies, huh?" An awkward silence descended for a moment, punctuated only by the children's laughter. "Look," Mark started, then stopped. He took a deep breath. "April, I know things ended badly. I messed up royally. There's no excuse for what I did." April remained silent, letting him speak his piece. "I miss you," he continued, voice cracking. "I miss us. I know that's probably selfish of me to say, but you threw it all away." April finished the sentence for him, a hint of bitterness creeping into her voice. "For what? A fleeting infatuation? Did you ever find out if the kid is yours, by the way?" Mark hung his head. "I thought I loved her, April, at least for a while. And no, the kid isn't mine. We broke up, but the damage is done. I was so stupid. You're the best thing that happened to me, besides our kids, and I threw it all away." He glanced at her, a flicker of hope in his eyes. "Is there any chance? Maybe someday?" April cut him off with a small shake of her head. "The future is uncertain, Mark. But one thing is for sure, we can't go back. We can, however, try to be decent parents for our kids." Mark nodded slowly, a flicker of disappointment crossing his face. He understood. There would be no grand reconciliation, no second chance at their marriage. All that remained was the shared responsibility of raising their children. Over the following months, a fragile truce settled between them. They communicated about the kids, attending school plays and birthday parties together, a strange civility replacing their past animosity. The raw pain had softened, replaced by a dull ache of what could have been. April focused on her work and the kids, finding solace in the routine of their new life. One afternoon, while picking up groceries, she bumped into Emily, her friend and confidante. "You'll never guess what," Emily exclaimed, eyes sparkling with mischief. "Guess who got dumped?" April raised an eyebrow, a playful smile tugging at her lips. "Don't keep me in suspense." "Our favorite mistress." Emily burst out, then lowered her voice. "Apparently, her other guy only now found out about Mark and dumped her, even though she's pregnant. That's karma at its best." April allowed herself a small laugh. It wasn't malicious, just a sense of satisfaction that Brittany got to feel the pain she caused April. Life continued to move forward. There were occasional moments of loneliness, but the overwhelming feeling was one of freedom and self-discovery. Mark and April finally managed to establish clear boundaries and co-parent effectively, giving their kids the best chance at a stable life with two loving parents, albeit in two different homes.